Nittai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nittai Gaur Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Nittai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. Good evening and a very warm welcome to all of you today. Like always, we'll begin our program with a special dance, a Bharatnatyam dance today. So I would request Bhagyashri and Svetashri to please come on the stage, please. Hare Bol. So I would open up the question that has anybody guessed on what the performance was made? Yes.
Dashavatar.
Exactly. A big round of applause. Thank you, Bhagyashri and Shvetashri, for your efforts. So without any further ado, I would like to begin our Dasha yes. So without any further ado, I would like to begin the class and I would request our speaker, a very esteemed speaker, Vrajasundari Mataji, to please come on the dais, please. A big round of applause for her. I would request Amma Mataji to please welcome Vrajasundari Mataji with a beautiful garland, please. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So I would love to give a brief about Mataji's journey. Vrajasundari Mataji has done her graduation in agriculture. She is a dedicated homemaker and a mother taking care of a 13-year-old daughter, Shriji. She has been a strict practitioner of Krishna consciousness and the Vedic principles for more than 2 decades. She, along with her husband, have been serving as lifestyle counselors at the Radha Gopinath temple, Mumbai. She is a lover of Sanskrit knowledge. She teaches Sanskrit and also continues to learn. She is a regular speaker for the monthly youth festival like Chetana. And she has been guiding and inspiring so many young girls like all of us and is very, very approachable. So whenever we have any problems, we run to Mataji and there's always a solution to it. So thank you very much, Mataji, for coming here today. And I would request you to please begin the class.
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So thank you very much for coming today to this monthly Chetana festival. Actually, I was just thinking that festivities are in the air, right? Like from past one or more than that, we have been celebrating so many festivals. Ganesh festival was there, Ganpati was there, and especially in Maharashtra, in Mumbai, there is so much of festivity. And we just celebrated Navratri, and just 3 days back, Navratri culminated into the festival of Dashera. And in fact, today we are having this Chetana festival on the eve of yet another festival which is going to be tomorrow. You know what it is? Sharad Purnima. And not just that, Sharad Purnima actually marks the beginning of the very auspicious month of Kartik. The entire month itself is a month of festivals. There are so many festivals, and not just that, each day of Kartik itself is a festival. So it's very nice that all of you have chosen to be with all of us today for this Chetana festival. Before we begin, I really would like to thank our beautiful dancers and for their beautiful dance. Even last time, the dance was so very beautiful and attractive. They worked so hard, for that 10 minutes or 5 minutes dance that we enjoy, how much hard work goes behind that. So many days of practice and coordination and costume and then music, selection, everything. Thank you so much for your hard work every time. We really enjoyed it. So, yeah, let's begin. So, The topic for today is fasten your seat belts. So, as we begin, I would actually like to ask you, what comes to your mind when you hear this word seat belt, or when you hear this command, fasten your seat belts? Yes. Accident. Oh. Yes, anything else? After accident, they announce or what? Safety, yes. Precaution. Anything else? Prevention from? पुलिस चलान. अरे क्या बात कही है, एकदम बराबर. Anything else? Roller coaster is going to start, so please fasten your seat belts now. Nobody thinks of this announcement? I heard first time in the planes only. Rather, I would like to share one very funny memory of my first airplane ride. This air hostess comes and gives so many instructions like that, and fasten your seat belt. And then she says that this thing is behind your, below your seat. And when this announcement is made, just take it out and wear it and ready to be jumped and follow this, and right lights will go off. And then she says, in the emergency, the oxygen mask will come out. And myself and my friend Vrajasundari, we were together traveling to Mayapur. For the first time, we were taking the plane ride. And we started wondering, why we are here, you know, what the hell we chose to come in the airplane when it's so much of risk is there. So fasten your seatbelts. What comes to my mind when I hear fasten your seatbelt is this. Of course, everybody can think differently, and definitely the roller coaster ride, which always, you know, without the seat belt, it is so difficult to go through. Do you ever think of this when you think of seat belt? रे बांध के रखा है यार, ऐसे लगता है? ऐसे लगता है? Fasten your seat belts means जकड़ के अभी बस एक जगह पे से बांध के रखेंगे. It's such a restriction. Why should we fasten our seat belts? Is it required? Do we feel ever like that? Some of you feel, yes, she is honest, she feels. But most of us, we don't, right? Fasten your seat belt, chalo fasten your seat belt, or be ready for the ride. So most of the times we do not think of seat belt as bondage, but yet we don't think, or how many of us readily put on the seat belt as soon as we sit in the vehicle? I know some of us do now with the habit, but especially when you are sitting on the rear seat. Nobody bothers, right? When you are sitting on the rear seat, seat belt is like, okay, मतलब पुलिस भी नहीं उसको भाव देता है. मतलब आगे अगर you are not putting seat belt, then cops are like on you. They are supposed to be on you, guarding if you are putting seat belt or not. So, although we do not think like this, still we are not so much insistent on putting seat belt, because we don't think that our daily life is a plane ride, very precious, or it is an adventure. Do you think our daily life is an adventure? Wow. What's that? Okay. Usually, क्या यार चल रहा है यार, routine है यार. How is life? Routine यार, plain यार. This is how we feel. Daily life is what? You get up, you get ready, you go to college, you come back, you do your work, you spend your time on whatever Instagram, Facebook, you receive the, respond to the chats, you change your walls ka whatever things, you change the DP, you change the status, and what is all routine, right? What's so much of adventure in that? Matlab, a day comes and the next day is again the same. unless there are exams, which may seem like an adventure. But they come announced. But yet, the nature of the world is there are so many problems that come unannounced. See, our concept of adventure is we plan for adventure. We feel adventures should be planned. Like, अरे कहाँ पे जा रहे हैं? अरे adventure trip पे जा रहे हैं. मतलब it is already planned. You know there are many people who have gone there and what kind of adventure to expect we know. Or we take the adventure rides, there are, matlab, in a controlled way, they expose you to some thrilling experience. It's controlled. There is no risk involved in that actually, if you have fastened your seat belt properly. So not much risk is involved. So the experience is given like in a very controlled manner. But in life, it doesn't happen like that. The calamities in life come unannounced. Like past year we experienced this guest of ours who came just unannounced when none of us were ready to receive him, and thus actually those who are not affected so much, we will not feel the pinch. But there are people who lost their loved ones in this wave, the different waves of corona, those came. So many lost their health. So many lost their life savings actually, curing themselves or their loved ones. Came unannounced. There are wars recently, right? Ukraine-Russia war. And there are so many wars that are civil wars that keep happening around. There are accidents. There are so many accidents that happen daily, per hour, per minute. Again, we are not bothered about accidents that happen unless we are directly involved in it or indirectly through some loved one. Okay? So we may not feel, again, this as an adventure. But to avoid or to protect us from such calamities or so-called adventures, I will not call them adventures actually, the calamities in life, there are rules, right? There are rules to be followed on the road so that accidents can be avoided. There are rules to be followed about our health so that illness can be avoided. So there are rules. The rules are not for some for breaking our enjoyment. Actually, before we go to rules, I would like to spend a minute or two maybe how I came to this topic. On the last month, around, I think it was on 4th of September, that there was a very unfortunate accident that happened. All accidents are unfortunate again, and there are so many accidents that happen. But some accidents are more discussed than others. So this is one of those accidents which happened. Maybe you people are more active on social media, so you may know more than me. But this is an accident which happened, and the person involved was a very big person. His name was Cyrus Mistry, the ex-chief of Tata companies, Tata Sons. But this accident is not, it means it did not gain that importance because this important person was involved, but there was something very peculiar about this accident. That is why it actually came into so much of discussion. The peculiar thing about this accident was there were 4 people traveling in a Mercedes-Benz owned by Cyrus Mistry. Cyrus Mistry himself was also traveling in the same car. And in the accident, out of 4, 2 people survived and 2 people died on the spot. 2 people who survived were surprisingly people who were sitting on the front seat, the driver and the person sitting next to her. And 2 people who died on the spot were people who were sitting on the rear seat. And it's not that the impact was from the back side, so the rear people died and front people survived. The impact was from the front side. But still, the front people survived, although they were injured. They were injured, seriously injured, but they survived. And backside people, the rear seat people died on the spot. Now then, naturally the inquiry, why, how come? So the observation was made that the people sitting on the front seat were wearing seat belts. However, the people sitting on the rear seat, they were not wearing seat belts. So if you remember, starting from around 5th of September to 10 days after that, naturally how the social media acts. After that, the messages on the social media were full of this thing, the importance of wearing seat belts. Seat belts, seat belts, seat belts. I had missed this news of this Cyrus Mistri's accident because 4th September was the day of Radhashtami, and there were festivities going on. But I was surprised, why is this seatbelt thing has come up, Suddenly, any group you go, there are seatbelt messages. I'm not so active on Instagram and Facebook, but there were forwards coming from there also. And then I actually went through this matter, and I was surprised. I was actually sad to hear about this accident and about the seat belt. And all those thoughts were on in my mind when Priya actually asked me, Mataji, Chetana ka topic ye karna hai. So the seat belt thing was going on in the mind. And what had happened was, as social media had taken this seat belt, the government had also taken up to this matter very seriously, and they decided to revive the rule on seat belts, and they announced that the seat belt is compulsory for front as well as rear seats, and those who do not apply seat belt will be charged 1,000 rupees fine. Okay, till then it was okay. And when government announced like this, there were people who started accusing government that, अरे एक Cyrus Mistri जाने से हमारा 1,000 rupees क्यों ये कर रहा है? Why are you putting rules? And that's how actually that's how this thought came to my mind. Isn't it amazing that the rule is for your own protection and you are rebelling against it? Do you think that the rule is made for government to earn money? Means are they saying that you have to put seat belt because we want to earn money? For whom the rule is? The rule is for us, right? It's for our safety. It's for our protection. So we fail to sometimes understand this about rule. We always feel, oh, rules means restrictions. They restrict our enjoyment. They don't allow us to be, what we want to be. They don't allow us to do what we want to. But it's not always like that. The well-intentioned rules are always for our good. So today we'll try to see, go through this, try and understand this point actually. Why rules, and are rules good? Do they restrict our enjoyment, or do they protect us? So, my daughter told me this interesting meme. I'm not into memes, but she told me that, Mama, do you know this? Are you going to speak on rules? She said. She showed me, in the phone. She said, look at this. This is how the youth think, Rules are made to be broken. That's how rules are. That's why rules are. So, there was this one person who was overspeeding, and the speed limit was written and he was overspeeding, and naturally the cop stopped him and pulled him over. And he said, "Didn't you see the speed limit?" And the person very honestly said, "Yes, I did, but I just didn't see you." So, matlab, our idea is what? It's all right to do wrong. Only thing, it's not all right to be caught while doing it. मतलब rules break तो करना ही है, सिर्फ पकड़े नहीं जाने चाहिए बस. Isn't that our approach? Isn't that our approach? Okay, rules break करना है, बस पकड़े नहीं जाए तो काम हो गया ना. What we wanted to do, we did it. But now this person, if he was not caught by the cops, suppose we assume, and he overspeeded, and every time he overspeeds, do you think he will never get into difficulty? Not with the cops, but what will happen? If he overspeeds, he will get into habit of overspeeding, and someday he will have to pay for it. Not the fine. He will have to pay heavy reaction to the options that he is choosing. Correct? So rules are made to be broken is not true actually. Now here, can you think of some rules from your childhood? The school rules which you did not, which really troubled you, or which you really felt, oh, I don't want to. Why these rules? No applying mehendi, correct? Standing in line. Cutting nails, you got it? I'm looking for Chetana specific answers. Huh? Means this question may not be that relevant for Prerna. Oh, mobile phones in class. Oiling the hair, tying 2 pleats. If long enough, then fold them. No hairstyle allowed. So, yeah. As she said, for just example's sake, let's go through this. No long nails. Nails should be clipped very small, and no nail polish and no nail art. When I was in school, nail art didn't exist, but nail polish was the mehendi nail polish, and it was checked, daily. You have to show this. So although we know, do we know why nails have to be clipped short? To maintain the hygiene. इतने बार वो दिमाग में बोला है कि the dirt gets accumulated, bacteria get accumulated when you put the same hands in your mouth, there is infection and blah 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 blah, health is affected. So we know. Another thing why the nails should not be grown is when you are in school, you play with your friends, you have your PT, so you may injure others. So for safety reason, for that, nails are not allowed. For nail paint is 2 reasons. One is they are chemicals, they put them in mouth and like that. Another thing which you may not, distraction, correct? Sorry? Simplicity, yeah. Else there is distraction. अरे तेरा दिखा मेरा, अरे क्या है ये, कहाँ से लाया, मेरा ये किटी मिलता है, so much distraction, right? In school, you are not meant to go to school for you are supposed to be focused in the school. But then, as all the school girls, they wait to graduate from the school and go to college. So I don't know, maybe there are some colleges for specific reason, they also must be making these rules, but most colleges that I know, they don't have rules about no nail paint and nail art and clipping nails. You do whatever you want. About hairstyle also. Why? Why? College girls के इसमें bacteria नहीं आता है? Yes. You are supposed to understand your own responsibility, your limits, when to apply nail paint, how to apply, when not to do, how to do. You are supposed to understand. Nobody has to tell you the rule. Oh, cut the nail, show me the nails. No, it is expected that as you grow, you understand. Okay. So, you are actually expected, or we are expected to own those rules, right? Especially the age that you are in, the teenage. When I was a teenager, we don't like somebody telling us. Rather, if somebody tells you, then we make sure that this doesn't happen. So it's better that rather than somebody telling us, we own the rules. We understand, as she said, we understand, we are grown up enough to understand why rules are there and what's the importance of the rules. Many years back, in early or late 80s, there was a experiment made on school children. It is called Marshmallow Experiment. Many of you must have heard. It keeps coming in social media also and on WhatsApp also. In short, we will describe. So, the experiment was conducted on 25 girls and 25 boys, keeping it equal, so that you should not say, "Arey, boys ka aisa hota hai, girls ko to aisa nahi hota hai." So 25 girls and 25 boys. So what they had done was, they had given each child a marshmallow. Marshmallow is kind of a sweet, not so much popular in India. Now it is definitely becoming popular. It's a sweet that is preferred and loved by children in Western countries. It's not necessarily a vegetarian thing actually, but nonetheless they had used it for the experiment, so we'll take that reference. So they were given, each child was given one marshmallow, and they were told that if you do not eat this marshmallow, then after some time we will give you one more marshmallow. So then you will have 2 marshmallows to eat. And then the children were left alone with the marshmallow. So a few of them, now they are looking at the marshmallow. So few of them decided, we will not eat this marshmallow, and because we want one more marshmallow. So they controlled, they did not eat. Few of them looked too much at marshmallow, so they couldn't control and they just ate it. They thought, forget about, pata nahi second milega nahi, hai wo kha jao. And others didn't even think, they just thought marshmallow to kha jao. But there were few who waited, who did not eat. And when the teacher or the one who was conducting the experiment who came back, they saw that these children have not eaten. They were rewarded with one more marshmallow, and they had 2 marshmallows. So they were rewarded for the controlled that they actually exhibited. So another amazing observation was made, that after a few years, again a survey was made on the same children who were involved in this marshmallow experiment. So what they observed was, the kids who waited, who restrained from eating a marshmallow and waited for the second one, they were the children who were more successful in their lives, who exhibited more controlled in making decisions. And good news, those children had lower body mass index than the others who couldn't control, So the importance of control, what I'm trying to actually point towards is, nobody told the children, do not eat marshmallows, keep it. Nobody told them. They chose. They chose that, okay, if we do this, there is a reward. There is a higher thing. For children, there was not a really higher thing, but there is something rewarding that is coming my way. So if I control, it's I'm going to get benefited, actually. So speaking about control, let's go through a story from Mahabharata, a story of personally my favorite hero from Mahabharata. Most of yours also must be. The story of Arjun. So we all know Mahabharata is a story mainly between what happened between Kauravas and Pandavas, and how Kauravas always were so envious of Pandavas, and they always wanted to keep them away, and they wanted to usurp the kingdom and throw the Pandavas out. They wanted to kill them. They wanted to harm them all the time. So the highlight of the Mahabharata is the dice game. The what do you call it? Dyuta. So that Dyuta Krida. So in which Pandavas were twice cheatingly defeated by Duryodhan, Shakuni, and the brothers of Duryodhan. And the second time when Pandavas were defeated, they were actually exiled to the forest for 12 years plus 1 year of Agyatwas, incognito. They had to stay incognito for 1 year. Means they had to change their appearance and they had to stay in disguise for 1 year. 12 years they had to stay in the forest, and then 1 year, the last 1 year, after 12 years, the 13th year they had to disguise themselves and stay. And if they were caught, then they had to again go for 12 years of Vanvas and 1 year of Agyatwas. So basically it was an evil plan of Duryodhan, in short telling that we'll not allow you to come back only. 12 years you go to forest, 13th year we catch you and then we send you again. That's what the plan was. So when Pandavas were sent in the forest, they were great devotees of the Lord, but they were deprived of simple rights that any Kshatriya has, of having a kingdom, small kingdom to rule, people to take care. It is a need of a Kshatriya, So they were bereft of everything when they were just sent to the forest, and they were really very sad and disturbed. And they knew that Duryodhan has evil mind. It's not that 13 years we complete successfully, he is going to invite us and give us our kingdom back. We have to fight for our kingdom. We have to fight to get it back. But it was not easy for Pandavas to, go back and, fight. Okay. So it was not easy for Pandavas that, after the end of Agyatwas, they can fight with the huge army of Duryodhan. And Duryodhan was king of the entire world that time. So naturally, he will have more alliances, he will have more people to support him when the war happens. So Pandavas, under the guidance of sages like Dhaumya and Vyasadev, they were guided that, see, you don't have much power, but you can take help from gods. You can take help from the demigods. You can seek weapons, the divine weapons from them. So it was decided that Arjuna goes to the heavenly planets and gets weapons from all the demigods. So to cut the story short, Arjuna, the Vyasadev taught mantras to Yudhishthir, and Yudhishthir taught them to Arjuna to travel to heavenly planets. So it's very inconceivable, right? How from earthly plane a person goes to heavenly planet. But you can read in Mahabharata, it's beautiful how Arjuna started chanting the mantras and started running. So as he was running, he was crossing oceans and mountains with the power of mantra. Nothing was affecting him. He was just so easily crossing, and then he reached Mandar mountain, and anyways, he performed tapasya there. He uh, pleased Lord Shiva, and he was given weapons, and all the demigods gave Arjuna different weapons that can be used for fighting against Kauravas to get the kingdom back. And after he received all the weapons from the demigods, the king of heaven, Indra, who also is the father of Arjun. As we know, Kunti invoked Indra on the request of her husband Pandu, and that's how Arjuna was born. So Arjuna was also technically son of Indra. So Indra came to Arjun and he invited him to come to heavenly planets to stay and to learn how to use the weapons. It's not just getting weapons is one thing, but being able to use it also is another thing. So these weapons are divine weapons. They are used with particular mantras. So mantras have to be chanted. So Arjuna had to learn that. So he went with Indra to heavenly planets and he spent some time there. So now when they went to heaven, Indra naturally arranged for a welcome party for Arjun. And many beautiful Gandharvas were singing and beautiful Apsaras dancing. Prabhupada says that the most beautiful lady on the earthly planet is like a horse in heavenly planet. Means whatever Miss Universe, Miss World, whatever Miss, all those things are there, or your favorite actors, actresses, they are like horses rather, she-horse, like a she-horse in the heavenly planets. So like that, beautiful Apsaras were dancing, and of them, the most beautiful Apsara is Urvashi, who was also part of the performance. And she was dancing very beautifully, and Indra was looking at the performance, he was looking at Arjun, and he saw that Arjun is looking at Urvashi and he's smiling. Okay, so noted. Arjuna looking at Urvashi and smiling. Noted for further, what do they call? Your call is recorded for further quality purpose and research or whatever. So Indra noted it. And then Arjuna spent some time in the heavenly planets learning how to use the weapons. And when it was time for Arjuna to leave, means the time was coming close for Arjuna to leave, Indra called for chief of the Gandharvas and he told him, you know, during the welcome party that was arranged, I have observed that Arjuna had been looking at Urvashi and smiling. So I see that he is interested in her. So you please go to Urvashi and describe glories of Arjuna and ask her to offer herself to Arjun. So this Gandharva says, is very happy. He goes to Urvashi and he describes all the good qualities of Arjun and his beauty. And of course Urvashi knows about Arjun. So she also becomes very happy hearing that, oh, really? He was looking at me. Yeah, actually I also observed he was looking at me. He was smiling also. So don't worry, I'll go. And it is said Urvashi actually is the most beautiful, means she is really beautiful. And even then she dressed herself with the most beautiful garments and most beautiful ornaments. And she, with the desire to associate with Arjun, she started from her residence and she reached where Arjun was staying. And in heaven, these people have different capacities. So with her ability, she actually converted the entire atmosphere into a very romantic setting. And she approached Arjun and she said, I have come here on the request of Indra, and because it was observed that you were looking at me during that dance performance and you were smiling, so I have come here to offer myself to you. And when Arjun heard that, actually, he closed his eyes. He said, closed his ears, and he said, "Oh, what are you speaking, you know?" She said, "Yes, I know you are looking at me, you are smiling." Arjun said, "Yes, I was looking at you and I was smiling. But what was there in my mind was, I was thinking that look at this mother from my dynasty. You know, she was the wife of one of my ancestors, Pururava. And it's been time that Pururava has passed hundreds of years back, and still look at this, my mother, you know, how young she is, how beautiful she is." And that's what the thought of was there in my mind, and I was looking at you and I was smiling with this surprise and with this thought, you know. So Urvashi said, "Come on, you know, in heavens these rules don't apply like that, mother and all those things. You know, we can enjoy with anybody at any time like that. We are always young, and you know, don't think about such rules here um, in heavens, and there is no sin if you enjoy with me." And Arjuna actually fell at her feet, and he said, "Please accept me as your mother, as your son, O mother, and you are my mother and I am your son, and there is no other relationship between both of us. Please accept me." But because Urvashi had come with the great desire to enjoy with Arjun, she couldn't handle all these virtues of Arjun, and she became very disturbed, and she cursed him. She cursed him that you will become impotent, you will become a eunuch for 1 year. So actually Urvashi cursed Arjuna, and she left from there. And Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan Ki Jai. And she when she cursed, Arjuna actually was stunned, he was surprised, you know, of what happened. You know, he had remained true to the values that he held sacred, but he also understood that there must be some purpose behind this. So then he approached Indra and asked, "Ki, you know, such and such thing happened, and you know, you sent her, and like this, my approach was like this, and she did like this, and she cursed me actually. So why is this?" And then Indra told Arjuna that don't worry, this is all for your good. And as we know, that 1 year that Pandavas had to stay in Agyatvas, in disguise, the curse of Urvashi became active in that 1 year, wherein Arjuna became eunuch and his identity was completely covered. And then we know in the war of Mahabharat, very valorously, Arjuna fought and got his kingdom. So, the control, the point of control that we were trying to drive towards from the research of Marshmallow on the children, and also Arjuna. Now Arjuna had a choice. When Urvashi told him that, "Come on, you know, it's heaven, no sins will come. He is away from his family. Nobody is going to question him. In heaven, everything is allowed." But for him, he had his own values. He had owned those rules, those values, those controls for himself, which helped him to remain focused. Actually, when Arjuna was in the heavenly planets, his mind continuously was with his brothers who were on the earthly planet. His mind was continuously on what we want to achieve. Why am I here? I am here because my brothers are down there, they are suffering. We need to go back. We need to get our kingdom back. We want to assist the Lord to establish dharma and the purpose. Now you may say that, "Arey Arjuna, abhi wo 5,000 years back, you know, abhi aisa nahi hota hai. It's different." But I would just like to speak from a life of a very great scientist of our country. I don't know whether you have heard about rocketry. You have heard? Thank you. I was not expecting, because I spoke with few young girls and they were like, rocketry kya hai? And then I was feeling actually very bad. But this is about a scientist, Nambi Narayanan, from our country. So those who of you who don't know can go through his biography, and really a lot to learn from this person, you know. So I would just like to narrate two incidents from his life. For those who don't know, in short, I will tell you that this person from our country went to Harvard University to study, and it was not easy for him. He went with lot of struggle. He went there, and the teacher, the guide who was supposed to, you know, teach him, had some personal difficulties. His wife was struck with paralysis, and so he refused to teach him. He said, I will not be able to teach because I want to take care of my wife. Very nice for him, those values. But for this person who has gone all the way there, now what will he do? So he went to this guide. Somehow he found out his address. He went to this guide and he requested, Sir, I will do all the work for you in your house. And whenever you feel, you can teach me. Whenever you feel like teaching, you teach me. As much time as you want, you can teach me. I'm here to learn from you. And this person, you know, really struggled and he did all the work. Coming from a South Indian Brahmin family, he was doing all the menial work at this professor's house, to the extent of cooking non-vegetarian food also. He learned, he cooked, you know. Himself did not never ate. But because it was required, because he had gone there to gain some knowledge which was to be used for our country. So he did all that, you know. So during all this struggle that he was going through, he was actually approached by a girl who was interested in him. And one day as he was traveling, this girl comes and sits next to him and just looks at him and smiles and says, and asks him, why are you looking at me and smiling like this? So now a person who has gone away from the house, he's alone, he's frustrated, not frustrated, but he's struggling basically. So when the temptations come, it is very easy to give in, right? So when this girl asks Nambi Narayanan, he looks at her and he says, actually, when I look at you, I remember my son. He's also like you only. First he smiles, smilingly, and then he laughs. So I'm reminded of my son. So what? Indirectly he gives her the hint that I'm not interested in you. You know, I'm firmly rooted in my family values. My family is there, and I'm committed to that. I'm committed to my family, and I know why I'm here. Later on, he went to Russia. There also one Russian lady approached him, and again she asked, you know, what do you think when you look at me? And he says, oh, when I look at you, I think about my wife. And then when she wears same color sari, how beautiful she looks. You know, so indirectly again he hinted her that, you know, I'm not interested in you. I know why I am here. And even looking at you also, I'm reminded of my wife only. So the point is, you know, being focused in life about what you want and being rooted in our values, we remain actually protected and we achieve what we want to achieve. This is what we are trying to actually see, that rules, अरे नहीं करना है यार, rules नहीं चाहिए, fine. You set up rules for yourself. Let us have rules for ourselves, you know. Else it is very easy, right? There is so much of bombardment of in social media. There are so many temptations. But if we don't have, you know, rules set, if we don't have values, if we are not rooted in our own values, then who can protect us from getting distracted, from succumbing to lower tendencies? So when we are, you know, speaking of a seat belt, this seat belt, these values are actually like our seat belts. Because the calamities of temptations, allurations, and they will come in life. But if we have our seat belts fastened, we will be protected. So rules are good because they protect us. They protect us from temptations. They empower us to remain focused. But when that happens, when we own them, when they become ours, the rules become ours, then they are good. Rules are valuable when they become your values. There are no more rules, they become your values. Like suppose the rule is never speak a lie. Speaking lie not allowed. How long can you follow that if it is not your value? If you think, no, I want to be truthful. This is my value. I do not speak lie because I am a truthful person. Not because she is telling me, not because he is telling me, but I want to be truthful. And you know what is benefit of being truthful, right? My grandmother would tell me, I'm sure all of you also, your parents or have told you that for one, if you speak a lie, for one lie you speak 100 lies. And not only that, there is so much of strain on memory to remember what lies you have spoken and then whom you have told what, and then so much of stress for remembering that also. Another thing, again, never cheat. Rather than never cheat, that rule, why don't we adopt for ourselves a value of loyalty? Will that not help us? It will protect us. Will not that empower us? So owning rules is what we need to learn. Is the point actually. Entire Chetana's whole, I was driven towards this thought actually, that somehow I wanted to discuss with all of you the importance of following rules and discussing that how rules are not for spoiling our enjoyment, they are not for binding us, they are not for restricting us, but they are for empowering us. Let's own them. Let's follow them, But how? What helps? We all understood that we need to have strong value system, we need to follow some standards in our life, some control in our life. But there are so many distractions. So let's see if we can have some helping hand. So fun is having good company, right? It is said that you are average of 5 people that you hang around with. बराबर? जैसा संग वैसा रंग, ऐसे बोलते हैं, right? So the company that you keep actually decides values that you have in your life. Actually, for most of us, our values come primarily from our family. बराबर? The values that our family follows, we follow. But given the age that you are in, or in the teenage years, we actually broaden our spectrum of exposure. So many people we are, exposing ourselves to, and especially the friends. And friends are the ones who expose us, influence us the most. Not just peer pressure. Sometimes it is not pressure, it is willingly also. We like to, whatever they are saying, they are doing, they are thinking, that becomes like the standard for us. Then in that age, generally parents, what they speak it doesn't come to much of, it doesn't make much sense actually. So that's why it is important to keep good company, to have good association. So these programs like Chetana, or the small programs wherever they are happening in your own locality, like that, these programs are opportunities for us to come together with like-minded people. What do you think? How many girls are there in Bombay? And how many girls are there in this temple hall? Why you people are here only? Because there is some like-mindedness, right? There is something something common that is of value to all of you. So you are here. So we should take advantage of such sangha. Sangha means the association. Such opportunities wherein you can come together with your with like-minded people. Now you are here in Chetana. I request actually those who have come for the first time or those who have come for second, third time, please get to know each other. Associate with each other. Have friends with devotees, because it is very important, because they will influence the value system that you will carry in your life. Second is good thoughts. Now again, for thoughts, I'll say the bombardment of social media, the kind of things that we read on Instagram or Facebook, on WhatsApp. I am not sure, I'm not so much acquainted with the new thing that is popular is Snapchat. I don't know about what messages go on Snapchat. But yeah, we are so much exposed with those kind of information. So our thoughts are influenced by what we hear, what we read, right? So herein, I would like to bring in that when you keep good company, we get to hear about good things also. And mainly about good thoughts, what I mean actually is the thoughts coming from scriptures, from the Shastras, because the Shastras do not have any ulterior motive. They don't have any selfish agenda. Anything that you read in social media will be tinged with some selfish agenda to attract you for something, to influence you for something. But the knowledge that you gain from Shastras, the scriptures, will actually help you to have your thoughts clear, clean, and have good value system in your life. And third is good practices. Some spiritual practices that we would like to follow in our lives. If you have seen in your family, suppose, I don't know about mothers or grandmothers, each one will have some particular spiritual practice that they follow daily. Have you seen that? I remember my grandmother, as soon as she would get up, she would start chanting mantras, and that would go on for hours, She would take bath, and then she would do her puja, and then she would, whatever she is doing, she would do. And she had this particular routine, routine of her spiritual practices. This time I knew that this is 7 o'clock, now my grandmother is sitting and lighting the lamp, and she is doing, So I'm not saying that you all do that, but I'm saying having some particular spiritual practice in your life is very important. What happens is it actually gives you a lot of control over yourself. This is a small thing, but another thing, by having spiritual practices, you are actually connecting to higher powers. You are actually connecting to the power of God. And what more protection is there than the power of God? So there are various spiritual practices, but here I would like to speak about the easiest and most effective way, and that is chanting of the holy names, which is specifically meant for this age of Kali, which is very simple. We decide a particular number of mantras that we would like to chant, and daily we do that as a routine, as a spiritual routine, as a practice. I remember how I started. My brother became a devotee in Mumbai, in JJ Hospital, and he told me about chanting Hare Krishna. And I thought this mantra is too long. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Like that I would feel. So my brother convinced me, कि okay, what you do when you get up, before you step down from the bed, 3 times you chant. Not 3 rounds, not 3 malas, only 3 times. And that too I would feel, wow, means I am doing 3 times Hare Krishna Mahamantra, like that. So, but I had this concern that this mantra is too long. But nonetheless, I continued, and actually, in a very short time, without me realizing, I started chanting on beads, and how I reached chanting a particular number of rounds that I am chanting now was amazing. Because this is a power of mantra itself actually. It is none of our capacities and capabilities. This Mahamantra and the chanting itself is very, very beautiful. So as the month of Kartik is coming, starting, I would actually request, if possible, decide for yourself, I'm not saying you start chanting 1 round or 2 rounds, 3 rounds, 4 rounds, but decide for yourself particular number of mantras that you will chant. One round is not a very big thing actually, you can decide like that. But it is said that in the month of Kartik, whatever spiritual activities you do, you get how many times? 100 times more benefit. 100 times more benefit. A lottery hai. So, of these 3 things, all these 3 things if we do in Kartik, associating with good people, with devotees of the Lord, reading the scriptures, and having spiritual practices like chanting of the holy names, it will actually help us to, heighten our capacity to practice the values. It will raise our standards. It will give us, it will empower us with lot of strength with which we can, follow the standards, have the values, have that, access that higher protection of the Lord, and remain focused and achieve what we are supposed to achieve in our life. The short-term goals and also the long-term goal of perfecting our lives. So I would like to stop here, and we still have 10 minutes to go. If somebody would like to discuss something or ask something, else we'll go for Kirtan. If you have any questions, you can ask, or if you want to share something, some of your experience or anything. After this, if there is no question, then Priya will make announcements, and then there will be Kirtan and Prasad for everybody. You have a question? Yes. Yes. The month of Kartik, her question is the month of Kartik which is coming. So what are the things that we should, that are essential that we should do? Thank you for getting this point. Before I answer your question, about rules. People ask, anywhere I go na, people ask, भक्ति में ये कंपलसरी है क्या? ये लगाना कंपलसरी है? ये माला कंपलसरी है? There is nothing compulsory. Actually in life na, there is nothing compulsory. In spiritual life also there is nothing compulsory. Everything is voluntary only. So what you want, you should do. A very senior devotee from our temple, he always tells that in life actually there is nothing compulsory. People sometimes say, oh, you forced me for this. No, nobody can force you for anything good or anything bad. You cannot blame anybody. So he said, sometimes girls say, oh, my parents forced me to marry. No, they forced you, but you couldn't be strong enough. So you married. So whose fault? Your fault because you are not strong. So you are not strong to rebel against that. How can is another question. Anyways, I don't want to get into, we'll speak personally. How can be, you think about it. I'll just give you this thought. Because you will say, a robber robbed me and he actually hit me and this. But you are not strong enough. We can't rebel against your parents. But whose fault it is? Whose problem it is? Basically, the point is, you cannot blame anybody. I'm not saying that you rebel against your parents. The point is, we cannot blame others. Everything what we do in life is our responsibility. Coming to the point of also, so bhakti, in bhakti there is nothing compulsory. So there is nothing compulsory that you have to do in the month of Kartik. But yes, there are suggested things that you should do which will benefit you. One thing is offering ghee lamp to the Lord. It is a very beautiful experience in the month of Kartik. If daily possible, if some of you who stay close, you can come daily to the temple, and there is lamp offering which is there in the morning as well as in the evening in the temple, and you can come. If not, at home, at your home, to the picture of the Lord Shri Krishna and Srimati Radharani, you can offer ghee lamp every day. You can also chant the holy names of the Lord, which you should be doing otherwise also. But as we said, in Kartik, the benefit is hundreds of times more. So committing to some particular number of rounds in Kartik, okay, I'll chant these many rounds, and I'll read from Bhagavad Gita, one shloka of Bhagavad Gita daily, or of Bhagavatam daily, like that. So setting some rules. If possible, visiting holy dhams, having bath in the holy rivers. There are so many things that can be done. Associating with devotees, hearing about spiritual subjects. But yes, Kartik, the main thing is actually offering lamp to the Lord. So when is next Chetana? Kartik is getting over by then. No? Okay, but still, you can come at least in this month. On Sundays, you try to come to temple and offer lamp to the Lord. It's a beautiful experience. There is a beautiful Damodar Ashtakam that is written by Satyavrata Muni, which is sung in the temple in the glorification of Lord Damodar and Yashoda. And the lamp is offered. Very beautiful experience. From tomorrow itself, actually, tomorrow evening, we are going to start with lamp offering in the temple. So you'll be making announcement about that. So yeah, please come. And thank you very much for your patient hearing and for choosing to be here when you had so many other options to go and do on the Saturday evening. And although the climate was not so favorable, but still all of you made it and remained with us, all of you seated and participated in the discussion. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. Thank you, Mataji, for a wonderful class. A big round of applause for Mataji. So a few announcements. Like Mataji mentioned that from tomorrow onwards, we are going to celebrate Sharad Purnima, that is Kartik month, for 1 month entire. We'll be having our next Chetana festival on 12th November 2022, Saturday, same time, 5 to 7. It's going to be on Shield Against Stress. It's going to be Rukmini Mataji's class. It's going to be on 12th of November next month. But since we do not want you all to miss the Kartik month, So that is the reason why we have another program, that is a Chetana workshop, which we'll be having on the next Saturday, that is 15th October, exactly the next Saturday. So that is a Chetana workshop. The topic is You Are What You Eat. It is by Madhuri Leela Mataji. So I request all of you to come for the next program, that is the next Saturday, and you all can also attend the Kartik Atra for that. All right? So I would request all of you to please face toward that side and we can have our dancing kirtan. Thank you. Thank you very much.